Ding dong, what's wrong? I'm going to tell y'all what's wrong. Stop scrolling, especially if you are a white person, especially if you are a racist, and you know whether you are or not. Listen to what I'm about to say because it is of dire importance. I cannot make this up. I always knew racism existed. I always been affected by it. Even as a small child in school, I knew something. But I found out the root cause of the problem at one point in my life. Years ago, I was working with a young lady. We will call her Lisa. And a lot of you have Lisa syndrome, and I'm going to tell you what that is. Lisa would stare at me on the job. And when I would look up and catch her staring at me, she would do this. I got tired of it after a while, so I went to her best friend and I said, listen, I said, you tell Lisa that I love men. I am not gay. I don't have anything against gay people, but I'm not gay. I love men. I don't mess with women. She said, oh, she not gay. I said, she could have fooled me because every time I look up, she's staring at me smiling. She said, she not gay. She said, you got to understand something. She lives out in the suburbs in a community where there's all white people. And the only time she really is around black people is when we come to this job. That didn't make no sense to me pertaining to what I was trying to tell her. So I just said, whatever, tell her I'm not gay. She kept doing it, kept catching her smiling at me, kept catching her watching me. But I didn't say anything else. I let it go. A little while later, my daughter was 3 at the time, and she had to go into the hospital to have a procedure done. She was only supposed to be there 3 days, but she ended up staying 2 weeks. And I thought, you know what, just to cheer this kid up, I'm going to get her a pet. She had wanted a kitten real bad. So I put the word out at work. If anybody knows anybody with kittens, please let me know. Lisa came to me and she said, I know you're looking for a kitten, but I don't have kittens, but I have a cat. And I have to get rid of her for whatever reason. And I think you would be a great fit for her. I want to make sure she goes to somebody very nice. And she said, I think you're one of the nicest people I ever met. I said, okay. She said, if you would just let me drive you out to where she lived. And she lived about an hour and 15 minutes from where we work. I lived about a 15-minute walk from where we work. She said, but if you let me drive you out to my house, I'll drive you back after you see her, whether you want her or not. She said, I just want you to take a look at her. I said, okay. I said, but first we got to stop at my apartment so I can change out of the work uniform. So she said, okay, I'll take you and then we'll go out there. I said, okay. After work, we went to my place. As we were walking up the stairs to my apartment, she grabbed onto my pants leg. I thought, I'm going to knock this girl down these stairs if she don't cut this mess out. But I noticed the closer we got to my door, because I lived in an upstairs apartment, the tighter she was gripping my pants leg. So I was like, I done told her friend, I done told Carol, and she's still trying me. So now I put the key in my door and I unlock it. When I opened the door, she was jaw dropped. That made me mad. And I said, okay. I said, I am sick of this weirdness. I don't know what's going on with you, but you better cut it out. She said, no, no, no. She said, I know you think I'm weird. I know you catch me watching you. She said, I know you catch me. And I put that smile on my face. She said, I'm going to tell you the whole truth right now. She said, you have stuff and nice stuff in here. I said, yeah, it's called furniture. And I hope when we get to your house that you have some too. Because I was pretty upset at this point. She said, no, please just let me explain to you what's going on. She said, all my life, my mother has taught me and my sister to hate black people with all that is within us. She said, with all our heart, she has told us, hate black people with all your heart because they are dirty, filthy, they have nothing, and they're angry, and that's why they rob, steal, and kill because they want what we have because they have nothing. She said, when you open this door, she said, I was expecting to see a dirty mattress on the floor that you've been living on, you and your daughter, or a cardboard box. She said, that's why I grabbed your pants leg as we was coming up the stairs, because I really thought that's what I was going to see, and I was scared. She said, I thought I was going to see rats and roaches and whatever. She said, but I never expected you to have furniture and nice furniture. She said, I am so sorry that my mother taught me that. She started crying. And I got tears in my eyes because for the first time in my life, I realized racism is taught. Hate is taught. People are teaching this to their children in their homes. And out of ignorance, because her mother probably was taught that too. And her mother's mother probably was taught that. This goes back hundreds of years. So I told her, I said, wow. I said, that's a lot to take in. I got to process this. She said, would you mind if I walk through your house? I just want to see what else you got. I said, go right ahead. She walked through every room she went in. All I heard was, wow. Oh my God. Wow. Look at this. This is so nice. My mother doesn't even have anything that's nice. So afterwards, I changed. We went out, and the whole time she's driving, mind y'all, this is like an hour and 15-minute drive. The whole time she's staring straight ahead with her hand on the steering wheel, and she's like, oh, you just wait. Oh, you just wait. You just wait. I'm just looking at her thinking, wow, she is really angry. I'm not angry. I'm baffled that people are teaching this to their children. So we get to her mother's house. She walks me in. Her mother is in the den, and she's on the couch with her legs up, and she has a blanket over her legs, and she's facing the television. She said, Mom, this is Nikki. She introduced me. She said, she's my friend from work, and she's black. She said, yes, Lisa, I can see that. She said, Mom, why did you teach us to hate black people? Because this is one of the nicest people I have ever met in my life. She said, and we just came from her house. And guess what? She has a very nice apartment, and she has very nice stuff. Nicer than anything I've ever seen you with. Why did you teach us that? And she started crying. She was going off, though. She was saying, that's why you have cancer, Mom. That's why you're sitting here dying from cancer, because you hate. You have so much hate in your heart. You taught us to hate black people, and for no reason. And I just thought, whoa, she's doing this right up here in front of me. Like, that was so unexpected. So I'm actually feeling sorry for this lady. I'm feeling sorry for her because, one, you have this in your heart, and it's out of sheer ignorance. You don't know no better. And two, she probably is absolutely right. That's probably why cancer is in your body. You have this is a cancer. Racism is a cancer. And y'all, after she left that room to go get the cat, it was the most awkward thing. I'm in there with her mother, and her mother says, it's so nice to meet you, and I'm so sorry. And she said, this is all my fault. This is all my fault. She's right. This is all my fault. The Jesus in me is having compassion for this lady, and I'm just like secondhand embarrassed for her. And then I'm feeling like, wow, if you weren't taught this, you might not be sitting here in this predicament, or you might have not taught that to your kids. Like, the world would be a better place if this wasn't being taught by y'all. So she said, have a seat. Y'all, I was so baffled at what was going on that I didn't even look behind me to see if there was something to sit on. I just plopped down. Thank God it was a couch behind me. But I just plopped down, and I'm looking at this lady, and I said, Miss, I'm so sorry. And she said, no, I'm sorry. She said, she's right. She said, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. So white people, yellow people, green people, brown people, black people, if you have Lisa syndrome, you need to work that out of your heart. You need to talk to God and get that out your heart today. You may not get cancer. You may not even have that type of encounter like I had, but it's not good, and it's spread. It's a disease in this land. It's a disease in this world. If you have Lisa syndrome, talk to the Father and tell him you got it. because 9 times out of 10 you was taught. You was taught out of ignorance. You were taught to hate other people. And that's not good.